Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Business Matters, the Broomfield Chamber of Commerce video podcast. My name is Pat Monticelli. I'm your host. I'm the Director of Membership and Marketing for the Broomfield Chamber. And if you've been involved in watching this podcast previously, before today's episode, you'll kind of see that we've been doing these about once a week. However, with the current COVID-19 situation and the fact that it's ever evolving and we're getting information faster, we've decided to change our podcast format and do them as needed. It might be every couple of days, it might be every few days, but rather than hold episodes for a weekly release, we're putting them out there in a timely manner so we can get a lot of information out to our members and to everybody in the business community and in the consumer community. And on that note, speaking of businesses, there are a lot of businesses, obviously, with the state shelter-at-home order that are having to have their employees work remotely. And we're going to talk about that today. Jeri Morgan from Code Blue Computing is joining us. Jeri, thanks for being here today.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.
So, you and I are conducting this interview over Zoom, so we're both working remotely today.
Yep.
And I'm sure we've both have been in Zoom meetings repeatedly over the past several days. There are a lot of people that need to have resources to work from home, to have interviews from home, to have conference calls from home, but some people may not be aware of everything that's out there.
Right.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and this, unfortunately, the good and bad of what we're going through right now is there's a lot of businesses where they could have been using some of these tools. They could have had folks working remotely, but they didn't. So, a lot of us are kind of trying to figure these things out, by fire. But the thing is, as we transition folks to working remotely, there's a couple of things that we need to make sure of. The first thing is so many businesses transition folks so quickly, and in that rush to try and get this done because we were under this time frame, maybe we didn't look at security. So we need to be sure if you've got a business where you've got a server, if you've got if they're connecting to their computer at the office, we want to be sure that those are set up in a secure way. But on top of that, what we're all finding, so many of us that are in business, and I'll tell people, a lot of times, sometimes you're having, it's like, coffee to death with all the meetings. And what we're finding through this process is that, maybe when we get on the other side of this, a lot of these, these tools, Zoom, there's Be Live, to do some Facebook Lives. There's some really great tools that we're finding can make us more productive kind of after we get on the other side of this. But almost everybody is using Zoom right now, and it's a really great way to either run meetings with your staff. It's a great way to network, with folks that you need to network. It's a great way to connect with our clients, because unfortunately right now we're not able to have those face-to-face conversations with our clients, that we always do. So it's a good way for us to be able to do that. Another video tool that people may not know is available to them, and most of us have Office 365 in our businesses, and through that Teams, you have Microsoft Teams as part of that subscription, and that's a great collaborative tool for our companies as well. It's a great way for us to send messages to one another, absolutely, but you can actually do video meetings right there within Teams, so you can use that piece of collaborative software that's part of what everybody has already to have meetings with your staff, and not everybody knows that that's an option as well.
And I think that, as we've gone through the process, as I did some of my own research, I saw that there are actually companies, WebEx, for example, making some of their professional tools available to everybody for either a reduced fee or no fee right now, because so many people are in need of video conferencing services.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been really impressed. There's a lot of cloud-based software providers that have really stepped up as, as we've kind of found ourselves where we found out. Even with Zoom, I mean, they offered, free subscriptions like K through 12, to schools if they needed it. WebEx has stepped up. There's a lot of different, providers that are, that are giving solutions, and those decisions will be based more on kind of what you're needing to do, the size of your organization. For most companies, they're just trying, because what you have is you have a lot of people that wouldn't have been using these tools initially, so you may have a training hump to get over. So the thing that we want to try to do right now is just like, let's use the tools that are accessible, let's use the tools that are affordable or low cost, and let's use the tools that that our team can jump in and be productive with right away.
Right. And, is there I suppose that, one of the things that you do, I know that Code Blue does a lot of different things in the IT,
Right.
area, but I suppose that one of the things you can do is help people if they have questions and they're not getting their answers through Google,
Right.
through a Google search.
Through the Google.
To call somebody like you to kind of give them an idea of what might be best for their situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can imagine, the last week and a half, we've been really busy having a lot of conversations with businesses, and so we can either help. If people have already gone remotely and they're struggling with a piece here or a piece there, trying to figure out how to make something work, we can definitely help with that. Another thing that we're helping people with is, so many of us have gone back into our own homes to work from home. Well, our kids are also here, and we're going to be homeschooling them apparently, and but that's the other piece we need to remember, though, because if you have data for your business, you really, if you can avoid it, you don't want that on the same network where you have the kids working. So another thing we're helping people do is segregate those networks, or maybe put some controls in place, because the problem as we go into our home environment, a lot of times, if we're in an office originally, we've got some pretty strong tools as far as antivirus, security monitoring, looking for those cyber attacks that maybe aren't existing on those home computers if people are using their home computers. So really getting a security analysis of what we've got going on at the house, and maybe upping that a little while folks are home, that's a good thing for people to look at, and that's something that we're definitely helping people with as we go through this process.
Now, is there a way for folks, for example, if, like I said, we're both working from home, but especially in large companies where there
Right.
is a lot of sensitive data,
Mm-hmm.
folks that have to work from home, is there a simple way for somebody on their own laptop or their own device to put protocols in place to protect data, or is that a little bit more of an involved process?
Well, it's more of an involved conversation for sure. It depends on the industry. It depends on their own home network. Actually, you got to look at what what the router that they've got in place at home is capable of doing. But I mean, very simply, some of the things that we could do when we're at home, anybody that has a Windows 10 license on their computer, if it's the professional edition, they have the ability to encrypt the data on that hard drive. Another thing that we should all be doing, before this and after this, is, kind of putting some additional security protocols in place as far as multi-factor authentication, so that when you go to log in to your computer, you need your password to get into your computer, but you also have a code that goes to your phone, and you have to enter that code as well. So people have to have both, so that you're kind of putting some additional security in place as far as the access to that computer. Of course, the bigger conversation is always access to the network. Making sure that network is secure, because if you think about it, you've got your computer at home now, and we've all got what they call the Internet of Things. We have Google Home, we have, Ring this, Ring that. Well, those devices are not always necessarily secure. So someone could get in through one of those devices onto the network where your business computer is now residing. So, as you can see, as we get into these conversations, it kind of goes down, a path. There are things that we can do, but it really is dependent on your own business and your own home situation.
So basically, if I'm kind of distilling what you're saying,
Yeah.
it's as you just make the decision to work from home, or as your company makes the decision to have you work from home,
Right.
security of what you're doing needs to be of primary importance.
I mean, it really does, because I mean, if you think as a business owner, you always plan for potential downturns in the economy, right? You don't plan for the economy to hit the brakes and throw you through the windshield and have no revenue coming in. And so the security piece is even more important now, because we don't have those additional funds to throw at a security breach, to throw at if all of a sudden your company gets ransomware. So security needs to be one of the top things that we're looking at as we have folks working remotely.
Great. And so if folks have questions, like
Mhm.
we said earlier, they can call Code Blue Computing.
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is codebluecomputing.com. You can always reach out to us through there. You can give us the call. You can message us through Facebook. We are classified as an essential business, so we're working all the way through this to support businesses however we can.
And I do want to mention that Code Blue Computing is one of several IT companies that are part of the Broomfield Chamber of Commerce. And I know everybody's working overtime, it seems, right now to try to make
Mhm.
sure that everybody's safe. But I want to thank you for taking the time to do this today. And before I let you get off the line, I want to make sure that I give you 30 seconds to do your elevator pitch, your commercial for Code Blue Computing.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Jeri Morgan. I own Code Blue Computing right here in Broomfield. We've been here for a decade, and really our passion is supporting businesses, and our goal is to make sure that you're productive, to make sure that you're profitable, and to make sure that that you're able to do what you're meant to do in this world. So again, my name is Jeri Morgan, and my husband and I own Code Blue Computing right here in Broomfield.
Great. Jeri, thanks so much for being here. I do want to remind everybody that we do have a lot of resources on the Broomfield Chamber of Commerce website, and I'm going to try to show you that website now. So if you have questions about what we're doing as far as getting resources out to you, go to broomfieldchamber.com. There are lots of links and things to different modes of information. There's things from the state, same things from the city and county, things from local business, medical and community resources as well. So you'll want to make sure to check that out. We do have a page called Broomfield Area Business Strong. It's a web page that's designed specifically to give our business community an opportunity to get more information about what is going on in the community and give our businesses an opportunity to promote themselves during this time, those that are still in business. We also want to mention that you can see this podcast and other podcasts just like it on our YouTube page, which we don't have our own URL on yet on the YouTube page, but when you go to YouTube, search for Broomfield Chamber of Commerce, you'll find all of our videos, all of our Business Matters videos, and everything else that we have as far as videos related to the Chamber. Jeri, thanks again for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And everyone, we will see you next time on the next episode of Business Matters.